Hey guys, it's James, and today we are back with another video, IDV. It is iShares International Select Dividend ETF. Now, this is very similar compared to VIGI. So if you take a look at VIGI and VIG, these two funds are both owned by Vanguard, and they are both dividend growth ETFs. This is the US version, and this is the international version. Very similar to iShares having IDV, and over here on the 17th when we did DVY, this is iShares Select Dividend US ETF, and this is iShares International Select Dividend ETF. So this is very similar to VIG and VIGI and IDV versus DVY. So today we're going to take a look at IDV. So what do we do in this series? Well, we take an ETF, we head over to their webpage and try to determine what they are doing to be able to pay us a dividend. We go over to Seeking Alpha, check out their daily historical yield, and then come to one dividend yield number that we feel comfortable with. Come back over to our calculator over here, our compound interest calculator, put in the dividend yield figure for our portfolio one right here, and try to determine how much of the ETF we need to own to hit $1,000 a month in dividends. And then we compare today's ETF with the S&P 500 index. Over on iShares website, IDV, it is iShares International Select Dividend ETF. So what is their objective? To track the investment results of an index composed of relatively high dividend paying equities in non-US developed markets. So what does that mean? What are high paying equities in non-US developed markets? Well, let's go over to Seeking Alpha and take a look at their holdings page. So here's IDV's page for Seeking Alpha. Click on the holdings tab and you can see all 11 sectors are invested in, with the top 4 sectors being close to about 70 to 80% of the entire ETF. Coming down to the number of holdings, you're looking at about 122 holdings, with a lot of these companies being foreign companies, very difficult to pronounce, with the top holding being around 7% of the entire fund, Rio Tinto, which I believe is in the materials group or the materials sector. So let's go over to their dividend page, take a look at their dividend history, and it looks like they're paying a quarterly dividend over the past 5 years. Taking a look at the max payout, and it looks fairly flat. They paid a decently high dividend around 14 years ago, and then if you drew a line, an average line from 2007 all the way to today, it kind of looks like they have trended downwards, if not about flat. Let's take a look at their daily dividend yield chart, and it looks like their yield number. Do recall that their price fluctuates every day, so the dividend yield is going to fluctuate every day, and then when they have a payout, you have these large jumps. So whenever they pay out their dividend every quarter, it looks like the yield will jump either down or up depending on what the payout is. So over the course of the last 2 years, it looks like it's been all the way down from 4% dividend yield. It jumped a few times, and now it's sitting around 7%, close to even 8%. So anywhere from 4% to 8%, very erratic dividend yield. So let's go ahead and choose somewhere between 4 and 6. Let's go ahead and choose about a 5.5% dividend yield, which is about what it has been settling around the past year or so. So let's go over to our calculator and hit that 5.5% with our IDV ETF. So IDV, and up pops the name of the ETF, iShares International Select Dividend ETF. Change this to 5.5% dividend yield. We're not going to put in an expense ratio as we're not looking at that part of the spreadsheet. We can change the growth and contribution numbers for portfolio 1 on this side and portfolio 2 on this side and compare the two. But that's not the purpose of this video. We're just taking a look at the dividend yield number. Coming down to this box here, how much dividends per month will we receive if we held this amount of security? And the security in question is IDV. $218,000 to hit that $1,000 a month with that 5.5% dividend yield figure. Do recall over the past 2 years, it's been all the way down to 4%. So if it held at 4% for some period of time, your $300,000 would pay you $1,000 a month. But if it held 8% for any period of time, you would need only around $150,000 to hit that $1,000 a month. So let's compare IDV versus the S&P 500. If you were to start with $500,000 in IDV and SPY, well, over the course of about 15 years, starting in July 2007, if you started all the way back at the fund inception date of the newest fund, 15 years ago, starting with $500,000, it looks like the SPY does give you quite a bit more growth. But do recall the SPY has a 1.5% dividend, and IDV does have a fairly high dividend yield. So their cumulative annual growth rate is 1% for IDV and 8.6% for SPY. And that does include reinvesting the dividend. So with IDV, reinvesting that anywhere from 4 to 8% dividend, you still would only receive that 1% growth per year. SPY, reinvesting their 1.5% dividend, you get to about 8.5% CAGR in this time period from July 2007 to August 2022. If you did not reinvest dividend, so we would have to choose this, reinvest dividends, no. Analyze again, and IDV would probably go negative, and it does. $500,000 starting in June 2007. It looks like IDV would leave you having a portfolio of half the size with a negative 4% cumulative annual growth rate and 6.5% for SPY. Coming down here, these are the payouts you would be receiving over the course of 15 years. So that is it for IDV. Let me know what you thought of this video, and if there's another ETF you want analyzed in this way. And with that, thanks for watching.